I'm Tamima and welcome to the Real Talk Round Table. Now, on today's episode, we'll be shining a light on a very, very important issue: women's reproductive health. Now, the reality is that in Kenya, at least 30% of women have experienced some form of reproductive health issue and concern throughout their life. And what is even more concerning is that less than 50% of these women actually do have access to the necessary health care. Well, today on the show, my guests will be sharing with us their experience, the type of reproductive health issues that they have dealt with, how they have gotten treatment, and of course, the impact it's had on their lives, both mentally, physically, and generally just their well-being. Welcome to the show. And I'm sure you must have felt betrayed because you've just come from a surgery.
Exactly.
And now you're even feeling more pain.
And we didn't have money, so my parents had to go up and down. This girl has to undergo this surgery because they knew what I was going through all those years.
Nikaenda nikapigwa picha inaitwa HSG. Wakapata ni tubes zimeblock. Wakaniambia naweza fanywa operation ndio wafungue hizo tubes. Nilifanyiwa na ikafunguka moja.
Hello there, welcome to the Real Talk Roundtable. Now, my first guest today is Jemima Nzisa. She's 30 years old and she has dealt with reproductive health issues, and she's here to share her story today, obviously hoping that we can inspire and empower a woman out there. Welcome to the Roundtable, Jemima.
Thank you so much, Tamima.
I know Jemima, Tamima. Okay. So I was telling you earlier that people always get my name wrong, that they'll always call me Jemima. And I'm like, but I said Tamima.
I said Tamima, but you call me
You're
Jemima.
still calling me Jemima.
Maybe we can exchange
the names, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have had several reproductive health issues.
Yes.
And today you're actually blessed because you're a mother.
Yes, I am.
And I'm sure it's not been an easy journey. So probably just walk us through what you've had to endure.
Growing up as a teenager, I started my menses at 13 years old. And it was so painful. The cramps were severe, like I could vomit. I could go on my periods for 7 days.
Non-stop.
Non-stop.
Heavy flow the entire time.
Heavy flow. Actually, it couldn't even jump a day, like it's late with 1 day. No, always accurate and going for 7 days, can't even reduce.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was happening. My parents were so in distress because what are we gonna do to help this girl?
Right.
She's in so much pain, painkillers in, out. It reached a point that I was receiving injections.
To help with the pain?
Yes, because now painkillers were not even helping the tablets. So I endured that pain since I was 13 until 2016. A friend of mine asked me if I've ever seen a gynecologist. And I was like, no. I'm being told when I go to the hospital, the nurses tell me it's normal, it's gonna disappear the moment you give birth. So they made it look like it's nothing, but it was something
for you. It was very severe. And how did it affect you then, being a 13-year-old girl when it started? How did it affect your schooling, you know, your overall mental well-being?
I remember when I was in school, I could miss classes for 3 consecutive days. 3.
So when you're on your periods, automatically you know I'm not going to class.
Yeah, they know I'm not going to class, and I have to be taken to the hospital for an injection because I couldn't take tablets in the dormitory.
So and you've told us you've endured this for now how many years before your friend suggested for you to go to a gynecologist?
Since 2003 until 2016.
So that's 13 years.
Yes.
So for 13 years, as a woman who has her menses once every 3 weeks, I'm assuming?
Yes, after 28 days, exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
So for 13 years, you've had literally to have downtime for 3 days because of your period.
Yes.
So now, by the time your friend was suggesting you go to a gynecologist, had it never come up previously?
No, because you know when you go to the hospital for an injection for, like, I'm in pain, the nurses, they just put it off like, it's gonna end when you give birth. It's normal, ni kawaida. Right. So you're not the first one, because I remember there's an incident that I cried, not because of the pain, because of the response I got from the nurse.
What did the nurse tell you?
She just told me, my dear, siwe peke yako uko na hii shida. There are so many women who come here with this problem. So take it easy and go home.
Right. So you were embarrassed?
I was embarrassed, and I was with my dad. So I can imagine the pain of a dad taking the daughter to the hospital just to be checked. What's up? Every month, day in, day out, this is what is happening. And then you just tell me that in front of my dad. He was also like, no.
And of course, I'm sure you felt that, you almost must have felt guilty it's almost like I can't handle the pain, yet this nurse is saying, but other women are handling the pain. Why are you special?
Yes, exactly. Exactly that.
So now, at the point now your friend suggests you go to the gynecologist and you went for your first visit. Were you given like a different diagnosis from what you'd had before?
Yes, they did a scan, ultrasound to me at Aga Khan Hospital, and they found out that I had fibroids. So all that time, my painful menses, heavy bleeding, it was fibroids all along. So I remember I went on a Tuesday, and on Friday I was scheduled for a surgery. Like
because
it was
once
that,
you got the test results.
Yes.
So I want to understand from your perspective. So you've literally lived with this for 13 years. You go in, you're told you have fibroids, right?
Yes.
And at that point, did you feel relief, or was it now again fear, now that this thing now has a name?
It was fear, and then I'm like, all this time it was this, and how am I gonna deal with it? At 2016, and I'm like...
And how old were you at the point when now you got diagnosed?
When I got diagnosed 2016, how old was I? 26.
You're 26, 13 years later, so
yeah,
26.
Yes, 26 years old. And I remember one day, I was dating back then. I was dating, and then my boyfriend, my fiancé then, could carry me to my home, my house. I was living at 4th floor. I remember there's a time I was in so much pain, we just from a date, and then he carried me on his back all the way to 4th floor, because when I got to the house, I felt like, I wish you carried me on another circumstance, not this one.
Right.
Not because of this pain.
Yeah.
And then I was in so much fear when they told me it's fibroids. Fibroids. I just got on Google immediately, and the photos that I could see there, they scared me even more.
And of course, I'm sure for you then, as a young woman who's dating,
Yes.
you must have had plans for your life.
Exactly.
And now hearing that you have fibroids, the fear must also have impacted you from the point of, can I have children?
Exactly.
And did you have anyone that you could turn to at that point to talk you through it?
No.
So you just had to literally just endure.
Endure and just follow the doctor's order.
So 3 days later, you go in for surgery?
Yeah, they did endoscopy, because they told me we can't cut you open. If you've not yet given birth, we can't just do a major surgery to you. So they did endoscopy, and I felt like in my mind, I was, wow, this thing is gonna be gone, because the doctor has given me an assurance. And they told me it was not going to be as heavy flow as it has been before.
So some relief.
Yeah, they told me that. But exactly after 2 weeks, that's when I was receiving my menses again. It was worse than before.
And I'm sure you must have felt betrayed, because you've just come from a surgery.
Exactly.
And now you're even feeling more pain.
And we didn't have money, so my parents had to go up and down. This girl has to undergo this surgery, because they knew what I was going through all those years.
So now, what was different about this pain that you're now saying was worse than what you had experienced previously?
Back pain. I don't know if it was from the injections at the surgery, but actually it was not injection. They put me the whatever.
The anesthesia.
Yes, the anesthesia, and I went to sleep. So I don't know where the pain came from. It was too much than before, and even now it added the headache. Headache I could feel slightly than the tummy ache. But now it was too much. I didn't understand what happened. I just kind of felt betrayed. Doctor, you said this. I even called the doctor at midnight. He told me it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Just wait, just wait. 6 months down the line, and I'm still the same thing. Nothing is changing. I gave up.
And so at that point, what were your options?
I had no option, because when I went to the doctor, he told me, what we can do, we're gonna get these things out, and then you get pregnant before they come back. So I was like, so cutting them off, it's not like they're going forever. They'll still come back.
Just buying you time.
Just buying me time to get pregnant.
You have a boyfriend and you're being told you have to get pregnant before they grow back.
And I can't get pregnant before I'm married.
And so how did that impact your personal life with a boyfriend?
Actually, my boyfriend was so understanding. I don't know how, but you know, when we pray, God, I'm looking for this and this kind of a man, he sent just exact that to my life. He was so understanding. I'm sure if it was somebody else, these fibroids, no, I'm not going to go on with this life. You know, he could have gone, but he stood by me.
And so are you still together today?
My husband.
He's your husband now. Congratulations to the both of you.
Thank you.
So there you are, and you've been told that you have to have kids. So were you trying to have kids after that? You got married?
Yes, we got married on 24th September 2017. Actually, we didn't take long. I think he kind of rushed it
Because of the pressure now.
to fulfill the doctor's orders, you know.
So the doctor ordered you guys to get married and have children.
Actually, we were not together, but the moment I told him, the
Yeah.
doctor said this and this.
Yeah.
So I think, let me do this for her.
What's his name?
Rogers.
Rogers. Mr. Rogers. Hey, we see you. That man must really, really have deep and true love for you.
I know, he does.
So was it easy now, at the point now you've gotten married and now you're really actively trying to get pregnant? Was it easy for you to get pregnant?
No, it wasn't. I remember when we got married, I was like, I'm going to get pregnant next month. So we were like, chap, chap, chap. Ovulation time, you know, that's where you time, nothing. Next month, nothing. Next month, nothing. 6 months down the line, I never got pregnant. So the moment that I've given up, pregnancy happens. Because now I remember he told me, I'm still counting the ovulation days, so it's going to happen this time. And it really happened. But Tamima, it was tough.
Now your first pregnancy.
Yes.
So what was excruciating about being pregnant?
Pain. From the moment I realized that I was pregnant, it was pain. As the baby grows, the fibroids grow. I feed the baby. I eat nutritious food for the baby. The fibroids feed on it too.
Right.
So I was in so much pain. I could take painkillers. I could see my gynecologist, and he could advise me on the safe medication to take. So I followed orders well. But I remember at 35 weeks, I went to see the gynecologist, and he told me, you need to go and do a scan. Actually, he sent me to a specific place. I need you to go there. Tell them I've sent you to have a scan. So I'm lying on that bed. The doctor is checking my tummy. She calls in another doctor.
And how far along were you then?
35 weeks.
Wow. So
Yes.
almost full term.
Almost full term. They check my tummy. They call another doctor. And I asked them, is there a problem? They told me, my dear, you need to rush back to your doctor with this report. I told them, okay. I took the report. I called my husband. We rushed to our gyna. Gave the report, and he told me it was on a Friday. He told me I need to book you in for an emergency CS.
C-section.
Yeah,
The baby had to come.
removed. Yeah, because there was no amniotic fluid at all. It was completely dry, and I was not leaking, so I don't know where it went. Probably the fibroids could have, I don't know. That's one thing I've never understood about what happened there.
So you lost the pregnancy.
Yeah, so that Friday, they put me on the injections to mature the baby's lungs. Over the weekend, on Monday, there I go, fully packed for my baby and for myself. On Tuesday morning, we have the CS. The doctor assures me, let me give you the injection for the back so that you can be awake and shoot the baby when the baby comes out. And I agreed because from the experience, from previous people had advised me, don't accept that injection, just sleep completely. But the doctor told me, no, I need you to see this baby. It's been a tough journey. I need you to see this baby. I didn't know what happened. I just found out that they have already finished, and the doctor was removing the curtain, and I'm like, are you done? I've not seen the baby. And then I had a friend who had come to stay with me that night. She just told me the kind of running I saw the nurse run with the baby from the theater. I've never seen someone run like that.
Right.
So they had taken the baby to the nursery, but unfortunately she didn't make it.
Right. And I'm sure you must have been crushed.
Actually, I didn't know by that time. I came to know in the evening, because I don't know what kept me calm. I don't know. But I knew something was wrong when I came from theater. My husband came to talk to me on the bed because as they pushed me to the ward, and I told him, babe, I've not seen the baby, and yet he told me to get the half whatever for me to have to see the baby. He didn't talk. He just turned around and he left. So that's when I knew something must be wrong. But then I told myself the baby was not okay. So maybe she's just in the nursery receiving treatment until when the doctor came and broke the news to me.
And I'm sure you must have been shattered.
Shattered with those stitches still fresh. You want to scream, you can't scream. So I had to cry in a way that, I don't know. Even my brother was in that room, but he couldn't stand me. The moment I started crying, everybody could leave me because they can't even manage to tell me sorry.
And you know what's unique about your story is that sitting here and listening to you recount that very traumatic and painful experience, that you're also sitting here again today as a mother. So how were you able to overcome, this health issue that you have, and today actually be a mother to a bouncing baby boy? Yeah.
I have a very supportive husband, and we are Christians, and we are prayerful. So I just told God, the baby's gone. I still have the fibroids because they didn't remove them. They're still there. We've spent so much. We are broke. I can't bring back this baby. So just give me peace of mind. And let me trust you to give me another baby, and a healthy baby, because those who saw her when she was still fresh, because I came to see her the following day, she was already dry. They told me she was not okay. Her head was flat one side because of the fibroid. They had pressed her so much. And they told me if this baby survived, you could have been in and out of hospital for her treatment. So accept that she's gone and ask God to give you grace to trust him for another baby. And I was just at home, and a friend of mine came and told me, Jem, when I was supposed to go for the surgery, because the doctor told me, come back after 6 months. When you've healed a bit, we do a surgery and get the fibroids out. I told her it's 6 months. She told me, during those 6 months of waiting, can you do something for me and see if it works? And she suggested me to use some products that I used faithfully from a company called Longreach.
And all of this medically approved, right?
Yes, they are. They are medically approved, even by KEBS and whatever, Poisons Board. They are approved. So I used the supplements. I used the pads and the panty liners, which really helped me. The moment my husband saw this presented to me, he told me, I normally see you wearing panty liners here, so why don't you try it? I tried. And I tried faithfully because I was desperate. What can take these fibroids out? What can take them out? And so I had decided to give myself 8 months of using the products. But
and then if that wasn't working, you were going to go back in for another surgery.
Yes, I was saying, if this doesn't work, I'll go for the surgery now. It doesn't matter.
So in those 8 months, that's when now you're able to conceive. Because
actually not even 8, 5.
In 5 months,
yes.
Because the products were working?
The products were working because I remember when I gave birth, the biggest fibroid, there were 4. The biggest fibroid was 6.5 centimeters, and another one 4, and another one 2.5, and then there was a small one around 1 centimeter. When I got pregnant, I was scared, even not happy, scared. I've not even finished the 6 months, the doctor said, and I've not even finished the 8 months I gave myself. I went for a scan, first thing, to check, have these things reduced? Yes, they did, from 6.5 to 3 centimeters, the big one. And I was like, what if I could have gone until the 8th month? But let me not question God. So God, I'm scared. I've not even finished the 6 months. The wound is not completely well, and here I am pregnant.
And how was the pregnancy? Was it smooth?
Smooth, like, I don't know. I've never enjoyed pregnancy like that. I worked until until 2 weeks before delivery. Until now, people were telling me, well, relax, rest now.
And you know, obviously, Jemima's story is a very inspiring one. We have with us in studio Dr. Rajesh. And Dr. Rajesh, you know, you were listening to Jemima as she was recounting to us her experience. So probably now, maybe just to hear from an expert, how common is fibroids as an issue, especially within the Kenyan women population?
Yeah, so fibroid is quite common here in Kenya, and in fact it is common, it's growing in incidence globally. Maybe because of our food habit or our lifestyle, the incidence of fibroid is growing. One of the reasons why fibroid grows is it's estrogen dependent. Estrogen is a hormone, and now we are now more dependent on non-veg chicken-based food, and chicken, you know, they are grown up with estrogen hormone, and then we eat those synthetic estrogen that is inside the chicken.
So, Dr. Rajesh, if I'm hearing you correctly, especially in the context of how our lifestyles now are contributing to this being a very recurrent issue amongst women, you're saying that the chicken that we are eating
yes,
is
it's
a
not only
huge
chicken.
contributing
It's
factor.
because of many foods now they are grown up with synthetic hormones. Even vegetables now they are ripened with hormones, and maybe the causative factors, because fibroid is a estrogen hormone dependent disease. So when we eat chicken or any food that is grown up with that is produced with a hormone, then we are virtually eating those hormones. So that may help in growing up the fibroids.
So how can a woman who's perhaps watching this, what are the symptoms? What do you need to look out for? And ideally, when you see these symptoms, have to go to a hospital to seek medical help?
Fibroid is a evolving disease. Maybe later in the 20s, or later in the 30s, 40s, the fibroid comes. So if a woman is having, say, irregular period or heavy period, abdominal pain, or any pressure symptoms like frequent urination that may happen when the fibroid is too big, pressuring the bladder, then she should go to visit a gynecologist, and with a scan, ultrasound, it can be detected.
Okay, there is something that Jemima said initially with her experience, that when she went to the hospital, she was told, but many women go through this, you know, and I feel like in a lot of ways that is perhaps what might shame women into not necessarily seeking help. So at what point do you make the distinction between these are normal period cramps and this is actually something that you need to actually go and see an expert, and specifically someone who is in gynecology?
Yeah, I was listening her story. So she was having cramps, pain when she was 13, when she was having her first period from that point. And then she was diagnosed with fibroid when she was 26, right? So the fibroid may not be the reason of her pain at when she was 13. That pain may be of a different reason. Maybe because when a girl at menarche, when she starts having period, that means the shedding of the endometrium. Now the cervix is thin. It's a very the cervix is the passage of the cervix, that blood that is shedded from the uterus has to come out of the cervix. Now when before delivery, when cervix is not is still the aperture is still thin, that blood clots, they struggle to come out through that cervix. So in that way the uterus has to contract, and that causes the pain. And now that's why even she was diagnosed as fibroid and fibroid was removed, her pain was still there. That means fibroid was not the reason for her pain. So the fibroid was, maybe the fibroid has appeared later in her life, maybe in the 25 or 2 or 3 years before. That could be the reason.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Rajesh. Now it's time for us to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. But before that, if you have any questions, get on the SMS line on your screen, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the round table. Now today we are shining a light on the common reproductive health issues that most women face. Now joining me right now, I have Beatrice Wanjiko, who will be sharing with us what her experience was like, and as well I have a lady who we commonly call Shiko wa Soksi. Welcome to the round table, ladies.
Thank you.
You know, Shiko was like, I'm not going to introduce you as Anne Wanjiko. Who knows Anne Wanjiko? We all know you as Shiko Asoksi.
But if they want to write the check, and Wanjiko, it's
Anne
okay.
Wanjiko,
It's
yes. Okay, karibuni kwenye round table. So, pengine acha nitaanza na wewe Beatrice. Tell me what your challenge was with reproductive health.
Okay, mi wakati nilioleka na dawa ya kwanza. Tukakaa mwaka moja, ikakuwa saa sipati mimba. Tukafurugana na huyo mzee, akanitoa kwake.
Na ulikuwa na miaka ngapi saa hizo?
Nilikuwa na 20 years.
20 years.
Sasa venye aliona sipati mimba, tukaachana na hiyo mwaka moja. Nikaamua sasa kukaa kivyangu. Venye saa nilienda nikakaa, nikapatana na mume mwingine, tukaoana. Sasa hivi tumekaa mwaka 7 na yeye. But nimejaribu mwaka wa 2015 ndio nilianza kwenda hospitali. Nikaenda nikapigwa picha inaitwa HSG. Wakapata ni tubes zimeblock. Wakaniambia naweza fanyiwa operation ndio wafungue hizo tubes. Nilifanyiwa na ikafunguka moja. Hiyo 2015 ikiisha ndio nilipata mimba. Kupata mimba ikakaa miezi 2 ikatoka. Nikaenda hospitali, nikaoshwa, nikaambiwa tena nijaribu kupata. Sasa nikakaa hiyo kujaribu, nikakaa sipati, nikarudi hospitali tena. Wakaniambia kuna dawa naweza eka ya kufungua mishipa. Nikaekewa hiyo dawa. 2019 ndio nilikuja nikapata mimba, but ilikuwa ya mshipa. Ectopic ya. Venye sasa hata sikujua juu sikuwa na uchungu yoyote, nilikuwa tu naenda nimefurahia sana nimepata mimba, nimerudi naenda clinic. Waenda saa venye walipiga picha ndio walipata iko kwa mshipa. Sasa nikaambiwa kuna njia nyingine, lazima tutaitoa na njia operation. Sasa kutoka hiyo nimejaribu mpaka sasa hivi sijapata.
Na ile operation after ufanye, pengine kuna vile ilisaidia kidogo.
Ile ya kwanza ilisaidia kidogo juu unajua saa venye walifanya hiyo operation ndio nilikuja kupata hiyo mimba kwanza yenye ilitoka na miezi 2. Naweza sema ilisaidia kidogo.
Na hivi sasa unasema umekuwa kwa relationship for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Na huyu mume wako, cause tukimcompare na yule mwingine ulisema ulifanya ndoa mwaka moja, akasema juu hawezi mzalia, yeye hataki kuendelea na hiyo relationship. Sasa huyu uko nayo sasa, pengine tofauti yake ni nini? Because yeye amevumilia na wewe anakusupport.
Amevumilia, ni mzuri, ananisupport kabisa. Hata hiyo mara yote nimekuwa nimkiadimitiwa hosi, tuko naye hapo aniachi. Ananiambia tu tutapata. Na
familia yake wanaelewa pia, ama kuna ile pengine changamoto pia wewe mwenyewe unavumilia?
Kunayo, lakini ile sasa kitu tuliona tufanye ni kutoka kwa ile boma tukaenda kukondisha sasa. Sasa tukienda pale tunakuaga wageni, unakaa siku 2 unarudi kwenye unakaa. Sasa unajua hakuna venye mtakuwa mnaingiana na wao sana. Hata kama wanaongea hawezi ongea ukisikia. Juu hata yeye hatakangi waniongelelee hivyo. Yeye anasimama na mimi kabisa. Sasa shinda ni kwetu nyumbani kwenye nimezaliwa, huko siwezi enda.
Kwa sababu unaona watu kule nyumbani wanakustigmatize.
Sister zangu na brother zangu. Sasa huko siwezi enda sababu yao. Huko siendagi. Hata ikafika siku ya Christmas mimi nataka niende kama wametoka huko. Siwezi enda kama wako huko.
Lakini sasa hivi bado unajaribu?
Najaribu kabisa.
Okay. So maybe let's hear from you, Shiko, and I'm sure listening to her story, because you've probably been there. Yeah. So you dealt with polycystic ovarian syndrome. So before you were diagnosed, is it something that you'd heard about previously?
No, actually I'd never heard of PCOS ever. What happened, my periods disappeared. My periods were regular from when I started my periods. I was 28, as in I'd know 28 days at this time it will come. Then all of a sudden my periods disappeared and I knew I was not pregnant. So I gave it the first month, I gave it the second month, and I was like, there's something wrong. So the third month I decided, let me go see a doctor. And that's when they did a scan and they saw that my ovaries had cysts in them, very many cysts, especially my right one had very many.
And at this time, did you have any particular symptoms? Was it showing up or demonstrating?
The only thing I can think of now, looking back, is I had a lot of acne from high school. So maybe that was, I had a lot of acne, and a year before my periods disappeared, I had milk coming out of my breasts. Like I've just given birth.
Not normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because actually you should get the milk when you've gotten a baby.
For sure.
So when I went to see the doctor then, he found it strange, but he didn't dig deeper. He just told me, okay, here are the dawas, don't press because you'll keep on in the mind, and it disappeared. So a year later, that's when the periods disappeared. So the gyna I saw felt I was 27 years old, I didn't have a child, and he felt that I'll never have a child. And he insisted, you need to get a child now because you're old and PCOS has struck. So I was dating Soxy then, and Soxy was like, mimi sijafikiria kukuoa sahi, so you make your decision, but me, I'm not marrying you now because of a child.
Right.
So anyway, we weathered the condition, that time, and we got married 2 years later. So when we got married, Soxy was of the opinion we wait a year to, just enjoy our marriage.
And for you're alarmed. I don't have the time.
I'm wasting a time, and now
Yes.
I'm headed to 30.
Yeah.
So so I pressured him, and we started trying. Unfortunately, the starting try now led to more depression because the baby was not coming.
And you're frustrated. He's frustrated.
I'm frustrated, yeah. And we are wondering, okay. So I went to a different gyna, and he told us we wait for a year because that's when they say that you're infertile. We try for a year, and then now we see what to do. So I did the year. It ended nothing. So I went back, and that's when I started fertility medication.
Treatments.
Yes. So you take, and you're told on this day you need to have sex, and yeah.
So you're on a whole calendar.
Oh, and it's frustrating. It's hell. It's hell because the day you want to have sex, that's when your husband is away. Sijui working, sijui where, he's tired, he doesn't feel it. So sex becomes like a task. So yeah, we tried the medication for like a year and a half, and we were like, okay, this thing is not working. I developed high blood pressure in the process, and the medication needed to be stopped. And yeah, we parted with my doctor saying that I need to do IVF, or I go back and I do something they call ovarian drilling.
And I'm sure for you must have been so frustrated.
Very
I'm sure
tired.
it wasn't also cheap.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was around 500,000 then, both operations, both whatever, IVF and the ovarian drilling.
Both of the treatments.
Yes. So Soxy and I were like, okay, we don't have that money now. And Soxy was of the opinion, I did not marry you so that you give me children. So tuachane na watoto, we move on with our lives.
And you're the lucky ones because
know,
Beatrice has
I
endured a
know.
man who could not wait.
Yeah.
But luckily sahi akona mwanaume ambaye anaelewa. And so probably in that period, because she's talking about to date, she still feels stigmatized.
Yeah.
Did you have to go through that?
Yes, I stopped going to church. I stopped going for, is it wedding, to baby shower? I was not going for such. I just became najificha.
Withdrawn.
Yes. As much as I never felt it, Aki, I'm so sorry, I never felt it from my family. Or rather, even if Soxy's family talked, it never got to me. I was well protected. There's just pressure from inside that you feel my body is not working the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
Yeah. And society expects that I get a child.
Right.
Yeah.
And so finally now you've given up on the treatments.
Yes.
And you're deciding, let's wait.
Let's wait it out and see what God has in store for us. I remember I went back home and I told Soxy, tukijaribu for 2 years and nothing is coming, we just adopt and move on.
So you had made your peace.
Yes.
With it.
And I think making my peace helped me because I also became calm. Anxiety left me. I was never...
No more schedules.
No, I was never having sex because I want a
Right.
child. I just relaxed. And 9 months, 9 or 10 months later, I was pregnant. I didn't even know I was pregnant because I had even stopped chatting and checking. Yeah.
And was it an easy pregnancy?
Fairly, because I didn't have any complications apart from the high blood pressure, which I had developed and which I have to date. Yeah.
Okay, so you got pregnant the first time around. Was it also easy to get pregnant with a second child as well?
Because the second one was like blinking and I was pregnant. So the first one happened without us knowing. So it was CS. My firstborn was a CS. So the doctor told us at least give it a year and a half before you conceive so that at least the wound has healed. I was pregnant, I think, when we were celebrating birthday ya kwanza for the firstborn, I was pregnant. So it just happened because we thought if I took almost 3 years to get my firstborn, tuanze sahi ndio huyu secondborn akuje after those 3 years.
So you're definitely blessed.
I
but
thank God.
Again, just to put it into context, the reality is that for most women, because either they cannot afford the healthcare, their stories are actually, they have a sad ending. And maybe just to put into context a lot of what it is we are saying, I'm going to loop in Dr. Rajesh. So Dr. Rajesh, maybe just to explain to us in layman terms, what exactly is PCOS?
PCOS is a polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, The polycystic means there are too many cysts within the ovary. Now the problem is there will be too many follicle, but there will be no follicle that will grow mature beyond 10 millimeter, or they will grow very slowly. That is why women having polycystic ovary will struggle getting ovulation and so pregnant. When there is a polycystic ovary syndrome, there is also some hormonal imbalance in body that will lead to some cosmetic problem like acne.
What Shiko mentioned, she had lots of acne at some point.
Yes. So that is because of high androgen level in blood, and also a problem with lipid profiles will get deranged. Some will have a problem with say hair growth in chin, in mouth, in face, and few will have a very heavy period, irregular periods. So this sort of problem, when it is there, it may appear early in their life or mid in their life, anytime it can come. What is the reason of the polycystic is exactly not found till date, but it can be hereditary and it can be a multifactorial thing as well.
Okay, and maybe back to you, Shiko, because your entire experience really inspired you. Now you're running the foundation, and I'm sure you're doing a lot of outreach with women. So what is the thing that in your opinion most women miss?
I think information. The doctors, not Dr. Rajesh, but the doctors don't sit us down and take us through, this is what you're going through and this is how it will affect you. And it won't end after you get a child, because even me now, even after getting my children, my periods disappear sometimes. Right. So it's just that now I've known how to manage my body. I've learned my body. So information is missing a lot, and support. We as women also, we don't sit down and talk such things. We don't talk about reproductive health. We don't ask each other, hey, your period, has it showed up? How does it look? Is it heavy? Is it light? Society hasn't made it that period is something we can
it's still a taboo topic.
Yes, we can just talk about.
And I really love that I have this platform, because we try as much as possible to bring these conversations on a much more, national scale, so that if you're watching this and you have questions, for sure, talk to your daughters about it, talk to your sisters, talk to your friends, talk to your aunties, because the reality is that almost 30% of the women in the population are actually dealing with reproductive health issues. Now, Dr. Rajesh, earlier on when I was talking to Beatrice, she mentioned that what she had to endure was actually blocked tubes. So probably tell us a bit more about that condition, what causes it, and the symptoms that women can look out for.
So blocked tube is one of the most common reason why women will come to an infertility center for pregnancy. The most common cause of blocked tubes are infection by chlamydia or tuberculosis, and any previous surgery in the pelvic region that may also cause blocked tube. When a woman is getting operated for any reason, then there is a tendency of the fallopian tubes getting stuck in any other organ. So that may lead to blocked tube as well.
So is there a way that condition can be managed? Because listening to Beatrice, she's still trying to have a child. So does she have hope?
That depends the severity of the blockage of the tube. If there is a severe scarring in the fallopian tube, then IVF is the only solution. If the blockage is mild, say near the uterus, and it is the blockage is because of mucus plug, then it can be managed surgically by hysteroscopy or by laparoscopy. But even when we reopen the blocked tube, if a woman don't get pregnant within 6 months, then there is a high chance that she needs IVF after that.
So pengine Beatrice kukuuliza, ushaambiwa wewe pengine uende uangalie kama unaweza fanya any treatment kama ile sasa inasemekana hapa IVF? Daktari ashaikuambia hivyo?
Ameniambia. Lakini alikuwa ameniambia tukijaribu hii nikikaa sana kama sijapata tena, juu nilibaki na mshipa moja. na hii mshipa moja tulijaribu kuweka dawa tena ikakuwa imeblock. Sasa ndio alikuwa ananiuliza mambo ya IVF, na IVF inakuwa pesa mingi sana. Sasa nikaona naweza kimbizana na hiyo IVF, uone hata nishapata hata pressure juu sasa sipati pesa, mimi ni hustler. Unaona, sasa nikaona kwanza nitulie.
Na sasa hivi kama we na mzee umefika uamuzi gani? Unaona kama hapa Shiko ametuambia yeye ilifika wakati akasema you know what, kama Mungu anaona mimi sitajaliwa hapa, pengine tuta-adopt. Kama wewe na mzee hiyo mshazungumza like pengine usipoweza kabisa kupata mtoto, msha have that conversation?
Hapana, hiyo hatujaongea juu tunangojea tu Mungu atatenda. Kama alikuwa ametenda na nikapata ingine ya mshipa, hata hii atafungua njia na nitapata. Juu mimi sijaipenda hii story ya kuadopt, sijaipenda. Juu sasa unaona kama kwetu venye kuko na huku kwa kina bwanangu, nimeenda pale nimechukua mtoto mwingine na wanajua si wangu. Watakuja tu kumwambia, na wakishamwambia huyu mtoto atakuwa ananichukulia vibaya sana. Ili tu hata sasa kama haitawezekana, fadhali tu nika hivyo kuliko kwenda kuchukua mtoto mwingine.
Okay. And I'm seeing, Shiko, you have a lot of empathy for her.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have a word for her. So I'm going to let you deliver the word to her.
I think it's so close home. I feel like I know how it feels. I've walked in those shoes before. I think just trust in God, as in, because babies come from God. Just trust in God. Shikilia tu hapo, and the fact that you have a supporting husband that you can take to the bank, as in hiyo ni kitu unaweza shikilia kabisa, because some men just leave. Hawawezi understand how you're going through that.
Okay.
Beatrice, umepokea hiyo mawaidha?
Nimepokea kabisa.
Na sio Beatrice pekee, any woman who's watching, because the reality is that these issues are more prevalent than we'd like to think. And I want to implore you, if you even feel like any of the symptoms that Dr. Rajesh or any of my guests have mentioned is something that you're dealing with as a woman, is something that your wife is dealing with, please urge them to go seek medical attention. Because the reality is that with a lot of these conditions, the earlier you get detected, the earlier you get treatment, the better your chances are of actually being healed completely, or at the very least, living a more healthier and happy lifestyle. Well, on that note, we'll be taking a very quick break. Don't go too far. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the round table. Now, today we are shining a light on the common reproductive health issues and concerns that a majority of women have to live through. Joining me right now, I have Cecilia Karanja, who is the founder of Fertility Kenya. Cecilia, welcome to the round table. So, obviously, as a founder, yours is pain into purpose, because you've also, as a woman, undergone fertility issues.
Yes.
So, probably tell us about what issue you had and how you were able to overcome.
Okay. I struggled with infertility for around 10 years. I conceived on the 11th year. My issue was blockage of tube. And I was in the first marriage for 6 years. Then I was divorced, then got into the next marriage, stayed for 2 years, for 3 years. Then I was divorced. Then I had to go through the laparoscopy to open the tube.
I love how you're talking, like, you know, like then I was divorced. It's like, you know what, I'm over it, and as you should be.
Yes.
But I'm sure when you're going through all these separations, it must have been painful.
It was very painful because I went through rejection. I went through beatings. I was beaten thoroughly.
By now,
their husbands.
Because you cannot conceive.
I cannot conceive. I was, people were talking about me, the in-laws, the mistreatment was immense, and the torture inside me that I could not get a baby was so bad, because I was not able to even look at people. I could not even go to social gatherings. I could not do anything because I felt like I was an outcast. I felt like I was living in my own world. I felt like people knew that I could not conceive, and I could not, I was not able to handle it. At a point I went through depression, and because of those, what I was going through, and also because of the divorces, So it figured a point I could not handle it anymore.
So tell me, what changed? Because now in your third marriage, so having, and I want to understand your psyche as a woman, having been through 2 failed marriages
yeah.
because of an issue where the man was blaming you for not being able to conceive.
True.
So by the time you're starting this third relationship, how did you handle it? Did you walk in with a fear? Was this man understanding?
I would say, like, for me, I was not ready for the third marriage. In fact, I had promised myself that I'll never get married without getting a child first. So I started, when I was getting into the third marriage, I had the intentions of getting a child.
So it was like, let's not even get married, tuzae kwanza.
Hata si ati nilimwambia, ni ile tu you as a woman, you unacheza chini ya maji ama backstage.
Yes.
Uko na hizo thoughts zako, you have all your thoughts and you don't want like him to know that what you're after. Because I'd gone through the failed marriages and now I have open tubes because I did laparoscopy and doctor said that I could conceive. So what I was trying to do is like kind of get a baby, or maybe not even trap the guy because I didn't want to get married anyway. But at that particular time, I really wanted to get a child. And I didn't just want to get a child with anyone. I just wanted to get with somebody that at least who was good to me, because he was so good. And I came and told him what I had gone through, and he was very supportive. But we were not married there.
So finally, after the treatments, that's when now you were able to get pregnant.
Yes.
And how many kids do you have today?
I have 3 beautiful babies.
3 beautiful boys.
Yes.
So the first pregnancy, like Shiko said, she blinked and then she got pregnant. Was it the same for you?
For me, it did not happen like that, because after I went through the laparoscopy, my doctor advised me that I should not conceive like immediately, because once you do the operation you get some adhesions. So once you get pregnant, before you heal, the uterus heal, then what happens is the baby will come out or you'll have a miscarriage. So he advised me that from the 6th month I should try getting a baby. So I bought, I was not trying the first few months. Then on the 6th month I was so determined that I needed a baby. So I went and bought a packet of pregnancy kits, a full dozen. So when I bought, I went home. So every month, you can imagine, I made sure that we met with my husband now, who is my husband. We met with him, I tried, I would check, and nothing was there. It was negative. The 2nd month, negative. The 3rd one, negative. The 4th one, that is when, the 4th month is when now I conceived. I could not believe it.
You must have been so excited.
Oh my God. That day, before I left home, I tested like 4 times.
Right.
And then I went with it to work because I was late that day. I could not believe that I was pregnant. So when I went to work, I would go to the loo, check, and it was positive.
So you kept retesting and retesting?
Retesting.
And was it an easy pregnancy?
Very easy. You know, when God bless you, He will always give you the best.
Right.
So for me, I've never had any problem with my 3 babies. My pregnancies have been good all the way. I worked till the last month, and yes.
And even getting pregnant the consecutive times, like with baby number 2, baby number 3, those were easy, they were fluid.
Oh my goodness. I could not wait. I did back to back.
Right.
I told God, hold, I don't want you to block. So I did the first baby. At the 8th month, when my baby was 8th month, I got pregnant with the 2nd born.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, I have a 9-year-old right now, I have an 8-year-old, and I have a 5-year-old.
So what
baby.
they call staircase.
Yes, that's what I have.
Okay, so let me go to you, Dr. Rajesh, as we wind up, yeah? So we've had a myriad of health issues being mentioned today, from fibroids to PCOS, blocked tubes. So is there anything else out there that is prevalent, especially amongst common Kenyan women, that we perhaps have not mentioned today?
Yeah, for infertility, if we see, basically there are 5 reproductive organs that God has blessed to a woman. That's one is ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, and vagina. So any defect in any one of these reproductive organ, either anatomically or functionally, then there is a risk of having infertility. So if we see ovary, if there is a polycystic ovary, or if the function of ovary is not, the egg number is less in the ovary, then there is a risk of infertility. In fallopian tube, if it get blocked by infection or by surgery, then there is a risk of either ectopic pregnancy or infertility. Now in the uterus, the function of uterus is to hold the baby. The womb lining where the embryos they get stick and the baby grows. Now if there is any tumor there like fibroid or any adenomyosis sort of thing, then there is a problem with infertility or miscarriages. So apart from the fibroid, adenomyosis is equally important, and it's endometriosis. This March month is a endometriosis awareness month as well. So endometriosis, adenomyosis, blocked tube, polycystic ovary, or there is a condition, it's not so common, premature ovarian failure. That is the most common cause of infertility.
Okay, and when it comes to lifestyle, how we are living today, you know, I'm still stuck at how much chicken I'm consuming, but they have learned something in this episode for sure. So what else do we need to take note of as women?
A healthy lifestyle and the weight, maintaining the weight, the BMI below 25, between 20 and 25, that is most important thing. If we see polycystic ovary women, they are having irregular period because of anovulation, not having ovulation at proper time. So if she is obese, and if she reduces her weight by 10%, then there is a 50% chance that she will have regular period and ovulation. So that is the importance of maintaining the weight and healthy lifestyle.
So eat right, have a healthy lifestyle, meaning that you're not overweight or underweight. And the most important one, how can any of our viewers perhaps get in touch with you, Dr. Rajesh, for any follow-up questions?
They can contact me at my clinic, Fertility Point.
There you've had it, Fertility Point Kenya, and Dr. Rajesh will be at hand, perhaps if not him or any other specialist at that particular facility. And now coming to you, Cecilia, how can women who perhaps you're trying to reach out with Fertility Kenya also get in touch with the organization?
Okay, we are situated at Embassy House, 3rd floor, room 319. If you want to get us on social media, Fertility Kenya, Kenya in capital, Fertility in small. Our website is www.fertilitykenya.co.ke.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about for you, Shiko? How can any woman who perhaps feels like they need to reach out to PCOS Foundation get in touch?
We are on social media. We are on Instagram, PCOS Foundation Kenya, same as Facebook, PCOS Foundation Kenya, and Twitter, PCOS KE.
Okay, there you've had it, because usually when I do shows of this nature, a lot of viewers will reach out and ask, how can I get in touch with that doctor? How can I get in touch with that organization? So wamewaambia, nendeni kwenye mtandao, muwatafute. Well, that's all the time I have for today's episode. Thank you so much for staying with me for the full hour. As always, I hope that I have earned the privilege of your time. Until next week, this has been the Round Table. Thank you very much. See you next week.